Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Live Roundtable discussion. Today I am on with Chuck Peoples from Homestead Medical. Say hello, Chuck.
Hello, everyone.
And then I'm on with John Willis from Special Operations Equipment in a fancy new shirt. What is that shirt?
Iran, Iraq. The war's never supposed to end is basically what it says. It's an Orwell quote, but it just rolls on through. Iran, Iraq.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I hadn't actually seen your announcement. I'm wearing defund politicians today. That's our vibe in the hall.
Oh, I've got my
post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite still.
Yeah, people love that one. They laugh when I go out. They'll be like, "Wait, I just read your shirt."
Yeah. People say stuff all the time about it. We've run that shirt 5 times now.
I went to the post office, ship some packages, and I was wearing the T-shirt, and there's like 3 guys in the post, at the post office. They were reading the shirt, and they all started laughing. Went, "Where can we get that? I want one of those shirts." I started handing cards out. This is where you can get it.
Awesome.
So, anything new at the compound, John?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. Lots of outside work. New people. Several new employees. New lady just came in today. Man, name it. Fucking throw it up in the air and see which one sticks on the wall. Everything's going on.
Is it like a switch just went off for you?
No, it's always like this. It's just we just kind of push them away, But it's we're building tons of stuff, like and a huge amount of stuff. Like I don't even know where it all is going to.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've sold another tool bag for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've had one out on the couch with the PA equipment in it for the week, and every time AJ walks by, he's like, "That's the exact color combination I want."
Oh, Typhon Toxic.
Yeah.
I don't have any of that. We don't even have the material right now. You should sell him yours, and I'll just give you another one of some other color.
I'll do that. Yeah. He just every time he walks by, he's like, "That's the one I want, Nicole." I'm like, "Well, I like multicam black with red." Just saying.
Oh, me too. Yeah, that's my thing. But I like AJ, so he could probably get us to do something.
Yeah. I'll he's probably overhearing this anyway. AJ, are you in the house? Nope. Go ahead.
He's in the chat.
Yeah, he is in the chat. So, okay, Chuck, tell us who or what is Homestead Medical? I know you're in the people watching this should know who you are, but just give us a quick summary, like how you went from the paycheck plantation to what you're working on now.
Been a paramedic 29 years. I just I was teaching all the cool guy ninja shit, the tactical stuff, the tourniquets and stuff, and I still do all that. But I really started thinking about what do you do after you stop the bleed, and then I've been on deployments for disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes. Went on several of those, and worked in austere environments. Worked as a contractor overseas and stuff. And I just started thinking, nobody's teaching this. What are people going to do because a hurricane hits? There's no 911. There's no hospitals. You look at Katrina, no hospital system for 6 weeks. When I was in Puerto Rico, when Hurricane Maria hit there weren't hospitals active for months. There's still hospitals shut down. So people had no health care. What do you do? And it's, great. You stop the bleed. That's great. You've got the tourniquet. You should have those things. What are you going to do now? Do you know how to convert that tourniquet? Do you know how to remove that tourniquet? How are you going to treat that wound? Do you know how to close it? All those things. So I just started a business with the conversation with standing in the shop of SOE, and Evan was around. John was there. I said, I think I spoke a couple of times at the first few self-reliance festivals, and I said, well, I think I'm going to start a business to do this. And I got no, you're just talking shit. You won't do it from Mr. Willis, and it pissed me off, and I did.
John informed me I would not finish 75 hard successfully when I started it.
Time for round 2.
Yeah, it is time for round 2, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, John's pretty influential. He was, I was in a podcast. He told me I needed to change the name of the business. It was originally Appalachian Medical Solutions, and I did. And he goes, you need to go get all the URLs, all that. So I immediately picked my phone up and started getting them all. And it's what I did. I mean, you all you, John, the group, the whole network. There's so many people that you can learn from. I mean, John's got 35 years of mistakes behind him of what to do, what not to do. So if he tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. He's got that experience. If somebody in the group who I know has proven success, why wouldn't you do it? You shouldn't question it. Just do it.
It's all simple, just simple little things. And most of that shit's free. Like getting those social media accounts all with the same name on them. Man, I get hit up all the time. Guys are like, hey, we want to do your social media accounts, or we want to do your videos, or we want to do this or that. And I look at their stuff and you can't find any social media footprint for them. And I'm like, hey, maybe I can help you guys do A, B, C, D. And they always come back with, yeah, we're working on that. I'm like, who the fuck is we? You got a mouse in your pocket? Like, who is we? Like you're hitting people up for money and you don't have any evidence of the most simple things, which cost no money. And you can do all of that in, 90 minutes in the evening.
It's so funny. John always asks that if you tell him we, by the way. Who's we?
Well, I just want to know who I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Who is
the royal we?
Yeah. Who's the decision maker that I need to speak to?
Yeah. Yeah. That's something I realize. It's like every time I tell John something with we, he's going to ask me who we is. So I just say the names, this person and that person usually. So anyway. Okay. So Chuck, how long have you been at Homestead Medical at this point? Like about 2 years?
Yeah, coming up on 2 years. It's an LLC. I did all the business stuff in the background and doing all that, getting it set up. So I've been 2 years, and it's developing. Classes are really picking up. I've got a lot of requests for classes this year. Slowed down for a little while. I think it's part of the economical, climate that's going on. Class sizes are a little smaller, but I've noticed that at all festivals and anything. I think just people are watching money for stuff, but I'm trying to bring something that brings value to it. And everybody tells me I need to charge more for my classes, including you all, but I try to keep it at a price point where it is profitable for me, obviously, and that it's affordable for the students that are taking it and they're getting quality class.
Do you see a lot of conversion to sales for items right after the class?
Yeah, because they open their eyes when they start realizing what they need. It's not just the IFAC. IFAC's for you, but honestly, at home, the home accident where you could actually use a tourniquet, your percentage is pretty low. Do you need it? Yeah, because when you do need it, you have 90 seconds. Should you carry it? Yes. But the actual percentage of getting a true arterial bleed that you need a tourniquet to occlude that is kind of low, but you need more of the stuff. You don't have enough gauze. They learned that at the last live tissue class that I taught when we started working on the animals. They learned real quick, you don't have enough gauze. One little gauze, compressed gauze packet in your IFAC is not enough. You're going to go through that quickly.
Doesn't even pack the wound channel.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something they learn pretty quick. So yeah, I see a lot of conversions of that. And the big kits that I sell, the home medical kits, it kind of covers everything from trauma, splinting, burns to, the minor boo-boos.
That's awesome.
It's so funny. The minor boo-boos are the least of my worries, but that's probably the one that would get infected.
If we can keep you alive, through the initial incident, it's the minor boo-boos. It's those infections and stuff, man. Go look at a wound care clinic, and you have clients that have been there for 2 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to me, like knowing, self-experience of how wounds heal. When you hear about somebody who just gets a sore on their hand and it's like 3 years later and it never closed. Yeah. Like the body cannot close is always fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's wound care is a big specialty, and I teach that pretty heavily. But I always say that stuff is more practical than tactical. Tactical stuff, you want to learn it, great. I could teach it, but you're going to have to know the practical medical care, because as John says, it's going to be that little cut and you're out working on there and it's going to be the poop, because that's what you're dealing with animals. And you're going to get E. coli, or you're going to get, Hep A or something like that, and it's going to be that infection that you're not prepared for that's going to treat. And depending on what your medical condition is or age, it's going to kill you.
Yeah, just wait till sanitary conditions in the United States, dwindle.
Oh,
Like most people have never, they can't fathom it. They don't even know that it exists, much less that it could happen.
Yeah. Well, this is a good question. What advice for diabetic wound care? Much harder to control.
yeah, it's longer. It's going to take longer to heal. It's a specialty in itself, and you're going to have more supplies. That wound that a non-diabetic, healthy, adult male, adult female may close up in 2 weeks. A diabetic may take months. And it also depends on the type of wound. It really depends. The depth, what it was, how much damage to the tissue was done, how much debriding you're going to have to do. With a diabetic, you're probably going to have to leave a wound open and pack it with wet to dry dressings every day and do debridement several times, and let that wound close up naturally instead of closing up on its own, because it's going to get infected, and that's what's going to kill them. And that's what people do. They think they want to do the cool guy stuff of, oh, I want to learn how to suture. Or, when I do skin stapling, that's always something that everybody wants to do because they want to staple each other. But it's not that. It's everything you do before that. Closing the wound's the easiest thing. It's what you do prior to that, and taking care of that wound and evaluating it is the most important. So diabetic is just that's a whole subsection.
If people want to staple each other, I'm pretty sure they can get that done at Self-Reliance Festival in October. Yep. Just come and we'll staple you.
Yep.
Then you can know what it feels like.
But yeah, there's several guys in the chat who've done my classes and live tissue class and stuff like that. And I'm trying to bring more realistic long-term care, what you're really going to see. We were discussing it before we went live. The live tissue class is my favorite one to teach, because that is probably the biggest eye-opening class for people to see. Is they're like, it's not what they think it is. And that's what I hear.
Let's step back. What's a live tissue class? How does that work? And you are the only person doing it in the U.S. that we know of right now, right?
Yeah, as far as I know. Live tissue class, we're using live animals. We have a veterinarian who's there, who sedates them. The paralytic is used. They're not feeling this. They're completely sedated. It's very humane, even though people may, and it's real wounds. We cause wounds on the animals. They actually have to take care of those wounds in different conditions, whether it be even a pneumothorax, where they're going to needle, do a needle decompression on it. And they do everything from tourniquets, a lot of wound packing, a lot of wound care, and evaluation. But that's the biggest eye opening, because it's not what you perceive it to be. I can put a piece of silicone with a fake wound in front of you, and I can have a little tube go in there and run some fake blood. It's not the same. It's never the same, because every wound's different. So that's my favorite one to teach, just because of the eye opening. And you can ask anybody that's taking it; they know you don't have enough gauze.
Yeah, weapons jockey's like, there's not enough gauze.
Yeah.
You have you printed that T-shirt yet?
I need to. That's probably going to be one I need to do. And
you're going to have those available the next event you're at, right?
Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. You definitely don't have enough gauze, and that's what when I sell. In my kits, it's pretty gauze heavy, and people even ask, "Why is there so much gauze?" You'll see. Take training. You'll see.
Yeah. This person just went to day one.
Yeah, Kevin was there.
Yep.
Jody was there. He's in the chat. I haven't seen who else is there, but it's. I love doing that class because it's as realistic as you can get to, to what you're going to have to truly deal with large wounds, small wounds, whatever the case may be.
Okay. So the only other live tissue classes I've heard of are part of military training.
Mm-hmm. 18 Delta.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, special operations, medical tech. They used to use goats, and then they've used pigs also.
Yeah.
And that would all start with them hacking a leg off with a machete, and they did not sedate those animals, which was what the big huge controversy was over. Those probably still happen. It's very down low, and it's a big to do to keep Greenpeace and all the PETA people away. But they used to protest at the base and stuff all the time at the bases.
We're we let people know it's going, but we don't really tell location or give a lot of information out on social media or anything. We have them contact us, and we actually vet the students. We want to make sure it's who do you know, what group are you with, that type of thing, because we're going to have those issues. It's unfortunate, but the training we provide, I've been told, and I think I've spoke. They've never given me a real name. Somebody who works at the schoolhouse for 18 Delta, and explained their class, and they said what we're doing is actually very similar, very close to what they're doing. It's just we haven't quite gone into the long-term care part of it yet, and we're going to do that at some point. We're planning that now.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty unique class, and somebody in here was saying, we don't address medical preparedness enough in the community. What I've noticed since, I came to this from the homesteading side, so looking more at the preparedness side is everybody thinks that the medical is sexy. Like, so the two things that every time you're like, hey, let's do a topic, it's ham radio and medical, and it's always stop the bleed.
Yeah. Well, and stop the bleed. Yeah, you need to know that, but it's truly, what are you going to do when you put that tourniquet on? Do you know when to take it off, how to convert it? Because I teach you high and tight in the moment. But if the radial bleed is down here, you've got a radial artery bleed and your tourniquet's up here. At some point, we got to convert that tourniquet down so we can get blood flow good to the good flesh, and then deal with that wound and take that tourniquet off. We like to do it within 4 hours. But that's not always necessary. There's documented proof of tourniquets being in place for 27 hours and no neurological damage done to the limb as a result of the tourniquet placement. But, you've got to elevate it, and preparedness is not just the tourniquets. It's not just the IFAC. You need to buy the medical backpack and fill that thing up. And I've literally had people hand me one of John's medical backpacks. Evan did from Radio Made Easy. He handed me at a live tissue class, handed it to me and said, fill this up and bring it to me. And I did. Now I'm actually doing another one for him right now. So there's a lot of stuff that you need that you don't realize you need to take care of stuff. But the most important thing is you have a warehouse full of shit. If you don't know how to use it, it's useless to you. And if you don't know how to use it properly, you will kill somebody.
You make reload kits for all of our products, right? You have for all of our across the board, everything medical we
I
make.
do it
you
for
make
the backpacks,
full
the
load kit.
cab. Yeah, everything. And even some kits that really weren't made to be medical. Some of the bags and stuff.
Well, that's smart, because different bag shapes work differently in different vehicles, for sure. So, it's funny. Nick Ferguson, right?
Yeah.
He has always been really hyper into learning things to the nth degree. And he did a lot of medical preparedness training and went to a wedding with his wife just probably 5 years ago. And there was a plane crash.
At the wedding.
Like at the wedding. And he saved the guy's life.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, honey, can I go over there? And she's like, yeah. And he runs to the car and gets his kit and goes over. And he was able to keep that person from wandering off because they were in shock, not feeling anything, and probably bleeding to death, which I can understand. Like, the adrenaline's high when you've been in something like that and we're able to walk out. So I can only imagine. So it's a practical everyday thing no matter what happens. And that's the kind of preparedness. Like, I'm about to go off on people who are preparing for things that are very unlikely to happen, because if you prepare for things likely to happen, you are also preparing for those other things. Yeah. And it's just, if we hyper fixate on nukes going off and we're only prepared for this one scenario, when another scenario happens, like, what do you do to train your brain to be ready to apply this knowledge to that? That's going to be more important, because you've just got to make it work at that point. Red Flyer Media is on the road. Woohoo! Yeah. Okay, so since launching Homestead Medical, how has your personal life changed? Like, how does your day look different now?
It's a lot different. I mean, as you know, you own a business, there are no days off. I have people putting orders in daily. I mean, my biggest struggle with anything is supplies. Is just, you know, that supply chain right now, getting certain products. But my life's changed tremendously. Since doing my own business, you have more freedom, and I'm hyper focused on getting off the paycheck plantation. That's my biggest thing. I want to make this succeed. I work at it every day. I'm proud to say I owe nothing on the business. Everything I've paid is absolutely paid for. The only thing that I would owe is like a net 30 order for a company, and that's usually paid in within 2 weeks. I don't want to have debt on it, because all the money that I do, I'm doing John's plan. First 5 years, all the money goes back into the business, and that's what I'm doing. And I want to grow it. I'm in one retail location now. I'm getting ready to go into a second retail location with my kits. I had discussions yesterday about where I am locally, doing some regular training there also. Kind of with a firearms instructor. He's getting a space, and it's going to be a dedicated classroom, so I can have people come to me to take training, but I'm still on the road. I'll go to them. And I like doing that. So I'm trying to book as many classes and things like that to get it out as I can.
Yeah, my next question was going to be, are you putting 100% back in? And you've already answered that. So,
yeah.
So you're an example, because there's kind of two paths that we see people going on to start something. There's the blow it up, and now I got to make money somehow path. And then there's the I am starting a side thing while still working a job. And you're in that second one right now.
Yeah.
What's it going to take for you to feel confident to leave the job?
Well, I'm building up the retail side of it, the internet orders, as far as kits and stuff, so that can be sustainable along with the classes. I mean, it's got to be a balance of it to where I can make money, live on my. I mean, I could do it now if I wanted to, but it would be a struggle. I may be living in my truck. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But I am going to do this. I'm going to build this up, because I truly believe I'm bringing something that is actually of big interest to people. Because there's a lot of classes up there, and a lot of people, good people, who are doing good medical training as far as all the tactical stuff. Nobody's teaching what I'm doing. And I know I'm getting a message out there, because I'm starting to be copied. I've had a couple people send me some people who are doing classes, who are literally calling it Homestead Medical. And I know one of them who's teaching it. They were in one of my classes at Self-Reliance Festival. And that's fine. But I believe what I've done. I put a lot of study in it. And this is from personal, personal experience, things I've actually done. That's real big with me, is vet your instructors, vet who's doing it. Do they know this? There's a lot of people out there teaching how to put a tourniquet on who've never put a fucking tourniquet on. And it's wrong. They have no medical experience whatsoever. There's a big difference once you put some on who've never packed a wound, who've never, taken care of a real patient. And they're doing it wrong. They're showing people wrong. And every class I have, I said, I have people take a lot of medical training. And then they tell me, I was never told that. We weren't shown that. We were shown a different way. People are teaching people wrong, and it's going to end up in deaths. It's unfortunate, but vet your instructors.
Yeah, that's something you wouldn't necessarily think about when you signed up for a class that's from a reputable, quote unquote, reputable place. But is today's instructor somebody who just took a lot of these classes here, or did they actually have to,
right.
do something? Are they an EMT or something?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, because they are showing people the wrong way to do things, and they're going to end up thinking that they're prepared, thinking they've got good education. They're going to go to help a loved one or themselves and realize, oh, wait a minute, this isn't working right. Why is it not working? So it's unfortunate. I mean, all of this is skill and knowledge. It's not what the medical society, our medical corporation these days make it sound like rocket science. It's not. It's skill and knowledge that can be passed on, as long as it's passed on, not regularly. I mean, we know what the medical society now is controlled by big pharma and insurance companies, but it's doing stuff. I get a lot of hate for what I teach and how I teach, because I am teaching skills. I don't certify you. It's for informational purposes only. But what you do in your own home is none of my damn business.
Yeah.
And as John says, allowed versus able.
That came from James. James Yeager said that. What do you think the bare minimum that every person should carry on their body medical wise is, Chuck?
I look at it in stages. So it's on your body. I think you should have a tourniquet. I think you should have some wound packing gauze at least, and a chest seal. Because those are the things that are going to kill you in 5 minutes or less. And that is to get you back to your bigger medical kit, whether it be your vehicle, your home, or whatever. Because a tourniquet, you have 90 seconds. You're by yourself, 90 seconds. You will lose enough blood within 90 seconds to go unconscious. Yeah, people say you'll bleed out in 3 minutes. You will, but you'll be unconscious in 90 seconds. So you're not going to help yourself. I think a pressure bandage, and the thing that you're going to use the most, carry freaking Band-Aids with you. It's what you use the most anyway, so you can get, because cleaning that wound, which is the most important part of wound care, can be as simple as taking a water bottle, punching a hole in it, and then squeeze that water bottle and flush that wound out. Dry it off, cover it up, and keep it clean. It's that simple. You can use tap water. You don't need saline. There's studies out there, and this will make me a domestic terrorist again. Look it up yourself. There's studies out there that have proven. Baltimore Shock Trauma did a study of tap water versus saline. There's no significant difference. Just a small, tiny little bit amount that didn't have any, an adverse effect on the wound.
Yeah. Tim says, who would have thought there is a technique to applying a pressure dressing?
Yeah. Most people don't realize that. They think you just wrap it up. No, there's actual techniques. There's techniques for everything. And that's some of the stuff that's what I teach. If you're going to teach something, teach it right and set people up for success in what they have.
Yeah, I think about it on the homestead all the time, because getting from where I am to where somebody else is not a fast thing here.
Right.
It's just not. And we've had one incident where I got a message that a lot of blood was involved, and I didn't know where the person was, and they did not say it in their message. So even extra time was wasted. Luckily, it was something he was able to stop his own bleeding, but that is the point.
Yeah. Carry the tourniquet, carry a pressure dressing. It's small. It doesn't have to be anything big. You can carry it on yourself. I do every day. I've got one right here. This is a full IFAC. I've got a tourniquet in my other pocket, but there's a pressure dressing. There's wound packing gauze. There's a nasopharyngeal airway. There's duct tape, because duct tape fixes shit, and 2 chest seals. And I've also got a decompression needle. I'm very wary of giving people decompression needles unless I know they've had proper training, because that's the one emergent thing that you can do that if you do wrong, you will kill somebody.
Yeah. You need to make one for lame ass girl pockets.
I'm working on it. This is one of John's pocket organizers. I looked at it and went, I can put an IFAC in that. That could be a daily carry thing.
That pocket organizer can be worn around the neck or under the arm as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have, and everybody right now for a couple of years now is making compact medical stuff. They've got, they've got compact chest seals, compact gauze, everything is thinner. So you obviously need more of it, but you can still wound pack with a t-shirt even if you had to.
Yeah. The EDC tourniquet that just came out, I tested it, the wide. I don't like the thin one, but I've never used it on a person. The other tourniquets that I sell, I've actually used real situations, but this one I've done every bit of testing I can. And I think it's a good viable tourniquet. We did have one we tested at a class, actually this last live tissue class, and we had one that had an issue, but it was the thin one. It wasn't the wide tourniquet that I sell, but it failed. So when I test things, we test it for real. We try to make it fail. If I can't make it fail, then I think it's good to go. Yeah.
So are the cheaper tourniquets okay? Like Amazon sells one for $15, or just get the cat?
Well, you can get the one for $15 if you want to die. There's several people in this chat right now who've been in my classes. Every class that I teach, I get the Chinese tourniquets for one reason. We train with them, because somebody will break one. Everyone, the live tissue class, we train with them. I think we broke 3 or 4. And I do that on purpose. I want you to see them break, how easily they fail. So yeah, it's buy the $30. How much is your life worth? How much is a funeral? Do you want $30? Do you want to pay $10,000? Tell me, how would it affect your life financially if you lost your arm, your leg? Spend the $30.
Yeah, when you're looking for the cardiac surgeon, you're always looking
Yeah.
for the coupon code.
Yeah. It's $30. Come on. If you don't have $30, then that's another issue you need to address.
Yeah, and this is another one. Many cat fakes on Amazon. So the other thing is, think about where you're sourcing from. This is I lost a cat because I sourced a flea collar on Amazon that was a knockoff, and it did not work. And the cat got a disease from, it was actually a tick bite, and died. And it was because I didn't have time, quote unquote, didn't have time to go to a proper place and verify that it was the right one. I didn't realize they were faking on Amazon. But
they are so faking on Amazon that you can buy Energizer batteries that are fake. They actually test out at the initial test on the voltage. They read full voltage, but they have some, I don't know how they can possibly be profiting on this. They test out at full voltage, but they only have about 10% of the juice in those things. Like there was a huge, a few years ago, the military had put out, do not buy these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could spot, even in my class, I show them the fake cats that even have a cat logo on it, but I show the difference between what North American Rescue's true logo is, and that's who I buy directly from. I don't go through a middleman. I'm a North American Rescue distributor. And how to spot the fakes or not. Your best thing to do is just buy from a trusted source. And besides, support small businesses. Why are you? I mean, we're all doing it. I'm guilty too. Why are you getting that stuff from Amazon? Get it from somewhere where it's going to be the real thing.
Yeah, so all of us are going to look guiltily at our deliveries today when they arrive from Amazon now, which does happen as well. We're doing an aquaponics or a hydroponics build in a couple of days, and I had to get a pump. And I was like, oh yeah, pump the water or else. So that one's going to break probably. I heard that Chuck will include the sacred beard hair on request. Yeah. Will cure any medical emergency.
There's many medicinal values. And buy all your knives from Jason there at Ridge Runner Blades. I think I think we ended up getting 3 from him at Self-Reliance Festival.
Yeah.
He's got some great products, and he's a very good guy, even though he hangs out with Evan.
I know. I mean, you can't judge him for who he hangs out with, right? Yeah. Okay, so basically, as you've changed your lifestyle over the last 2 years, what else has changed for you personally? Because you're a very different looking person now and a very different acting person now than you were when I met you.
Yeah. When we met, I walked through the gates at the compound there for the first Self-Reliance Festival. I didn't know anybody. It was like 0 people. And from there, I mean, I've got a community. I've gotten in better shape. I still strive to do that. I eat different. My whole life is different. I mean, literally everything about me has changed. Who I hang out with, who my friends are, who I listen to, what my thought process is. It's been a immensely, and you can't put a money value to it of how much I've learned through building the community and being part of the community that I have. And every day something good happens. Every day something I learn, and I meet new people, and and because of being part of this community, it's how my business initially grew. They're supporting me. It's the people of the community who support me, who order from me, and who take my classes. And I couldn't be more thankful. But it's why. I mean, if people are wondering, oh, should I go to Self-Reliance Festival? Should I do this or participate in this? Hell yes, it'll change your life.
Well, should I start a business? Well, just start one.
Yeah, just do it. If you say it around John, you better do it because he'll hold you accountable. And I'm glad he did that. I'm glad he pissed me off. I'm glad because that did motivate me. but it's also, it holds me accountable every day when I make a decision, I'm doing things, or even when I get those thoughts in my head, oh, I'm not going to work on it today, I'm going to take a break. I think of you all, of you and John, and even Bob Lester, and just all the people that I've learned from, Tag, and all those people. I look at that as holding me accountable, because I know if I do something stupid or I slack off, somebody's going to say something, and I don't want to disappoint that. It's a great motivation for me every day.
So what you're saying, Chuck, is you're not bored anymore?
No, no. I really enjoy what I do. I've got a passion for it, and I want to keep growing it and make it better. And I'm glad people are starting to come out. I hope I do have some competition. I'm going to beat them, and I am going to make this business to where it's self-sustainable, and that it is my only source of income that I need, and to grow it from there. There's no doubt. People can say what they want. I promise you, it's going to happen.
So what would you do if your job went away tomorrow to spin up faster?
I'd pull an Evan Dixon. I would do some of the things, and I do some of the things he said. There's people in this chat right now who've taken their time, met with me, and told me what I need to do for social media and stuff like that. Not just you all, but Jason from Ridge Runner, and Evan Overton. All those people have helped me and tell me things. I would just do it. I mean, if I had to do it right now, I would do it. I'd go out, I'd get classes, and I'm doing the same thing that I'm doing now. I'm going out and making contacts and looking at different avenues of where I can bring my product and my brand to them.
Yeah, Ridge Runner says, I'm so glad someone started doing turnkey kits for John's bags. So why aren't you doing it?
I really don't have an excuse. I mean, I think it's more of the security of knowing that I've got a steady income coming in, but that income is what supports the business now. It is self-supporting now. I mean, it's paying for itself. I am making a profit. But I want that profit margin to be somewhere where I'm comfortable to pay the bills that I have, which aren't much. And I'm working on that to pay that off to where my lifestyle is going to match that, to where I can scale it back or scale it with the business, to where I'm not going to be scrambling. It's going to happen within a year. I mean, and I'm also looking to move right now. I've had some things in my personal life. My father passed away. My mom is trying to sell the house they were in, and she's going to move also. So I'm probably going to end up moving much closer to you all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm looking right now. That's probably going to happen soon, and I'm going to be very close to you all. If not in Tennessee, I'll be right on the edge of Tennessee, in Kentucky.
Yep. Do you have any classes planned for the July SOE party?
Yeah, the 15th and 16th at TAC Response, the Monday and Tuesday after that. We might do something at the party. I don't care. I'm always game for something. Believe me, I've been hit with last minute things at these events. I can make it happen, but I will be having a 2-day class that Monday and Tuesday at TAC Response. They're hosting me after alumni weekend in the party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be out that way. They're having me teach a cheese class, but I don't have enough time to teach the whole cheese class. So I have to figure out what I'm doing in the time I have. So I'm like, is it a cheese tasting or a cheese class?
Yeah, that's the answer. The cheese tasting.
Yeah. That might be what happens. And then, like, if you want to see me make cheese,
here's some
hey,
pictures
John,
of
can I make
making
cheese at your place? Like, come over to John's later.
Yeah, here's some pictures of making cheese. Here's the cheese.
Here's a cheese kit for sale. Yeah.
I didn't quit my job. They finally fired me when that all happened. I had delivery routes and very easy cush job, making like $3,500 a month. And I only had to work 4 hours a night, 7 days a week. And I would just show up and fold newspapers. And I always had my route covered. But finally, somebody just wanted the route that I had. Finally, they fired me. And there was a big, oh no, what am I going to do? I just lost $3,500 a month. And I was doing all the gear, but it made me have to do the gear for real. And I went to bed that night very concerned, woke up and just started doing forums and internet stuff, and just talk. Actually, no, there was no internet then. just talking to guys. I think there was a gun show that weekend I had taken off from, and we were going to very select gun shows, but I just went to the next gun show. It's like a carnival circus route, and man, I made 10 grand that week, whereas I was making 3,500, and then boom, there it is. Now it's real. So just kept doing it, and I've always taken, and that's what I tell guys all the time, man. I took the easy way all the time, and had I just done the little more difficult thing, we would be so much further ahead of where we are. Rather than somebody making me do it, had I taken that choice on my own. Just like guys used to be like, especially business guys, when I was starting out, they're like, you need to take credit cards. No, I don't have to take credit cards. You want my stuff, you'll bring me cash, or you'll send me a check. Man, the first month we took credit cards was the first month we broke 100 grand in sales. We'd barely kissed 10, 15,000, and the whole just taking credit cards, it just pushed us over that threshold.
Yeah, I'm actually right now setting up to where I can take Bitcoin, and I've got all the credit cards, all that. I did that.
You can take Bitcoin right now.
Yeah. If you're on your Shopify, there's a toggle in there you can take Bitcoin.
Yeah, I just discovered that. I didn't even realize that.
Like I could email you could send me an address and it would be done.
Yeah.
That's how I did it the first time until I figured out how to build it in.
So I can do it. I mean, I can make excuses, but it's just more of the security of having that money to make sure the bills are paid and stuff. But when I move, I think that's what it's going to be. Is I'm just going to go all in, and I've got some things coming up that'll get me out there on other people's forums. At least get my name up. That'll help, bring my brand out. I'm going to be on Angry Americans podcast. One of his lives. He asked me to come on. There's several people who have, and that all started from Self-Reliance. It's meeting these people to different festivals. I mean, the first one was Self-Reliance. I go to other ones now, but it's still within the network. And just more and more people are getting out there, and my names. And I've been contacted by some other big name, I guess YouTube stars or whatever you want to call them, who've got a pretty big following, who want me to come on and maybe do some collaborations and stuff with them. So those are in the process. So I'm just preparing for that. I'm trying to build up stock, trying to build up kits. I'm bringing new kits out, new product for what people need. Because people don't think about, I've got part of my classes on sanitation. John had mentioned that earlier. Dental emergencies. I don't care how big you are. If you've got a bad tooth, that's going to take you down. Ear, nose, eyes, throat stuff, and then OB and pediatrics. That's a whole specialty in itself. And I'm getting with Combat Midwife. If you're not familiar with her, look her up. We're going to do some collaborations on some stuff, kits and things like that, because that's a whole subspecialty that she's going to do. And that's who I would refer you to if you wanted more, more as the OBGYN and pediatric care too.
Yep. How many people do you need in a class for you to travel, Chuck?
Depends on where you are, but normally 6 to make a profit. At least 6
I think
people.
AR is in Colorado.
Yeah, we'd have to talk. That's probably
a bigger number.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not for you. So I thought that was a question for you.
Right.
I messed that up. Yeah, it's the reason I was kind of asking you that question, Chuck, is I'm wondering if it's going to take a kick to get you off your dime on leaving the paycheck plantation.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's that security. No matter what you do, you don't want to. Sometimes you do though have to go backwards. I mean, you've got to take a jump back so you can build up even more. And it's just that security, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, my son's grown. He actually comes and helps me teach and with everything, which he's a huge resource for me, and he's learning to teach more and more of it. But it's just one of those things where it's probably going to take a kick, or John liked to say, quit being a pussy or something like that to piss me off, and I'm just going to leap and do it.
I mean, John could say that right now if you really wanted.
He could.
Yeah.
So are you doing shows every weekend, Chuck? Like, do you have something set up for every weekend when you're not doing classes?
Where there's shows available, yes, and then I'm trying to book classes. I'm doing some stuff also with some law enforcement agencies and stuff like that. So it's not just hosted classes. I've got other avenues that I'm teaching this stuff to also. So I'm trying to book up every single weekend, and when it gets to a chance where I can do through the week and travel, I mean, I've been as far as Kansas. I've got stuff that's going to be booked in Texas. You know, I'll travel. I'll go to it because I want to get the brand out and I want to teach, and obviously I want to make money. I want to be successful. So I'm bringing it up anywhere I can.
Cool.
If stuff went wrong after you make the leap, how hard would it be to get another job, do you think?
No, I walk in. I'm a paramedic. I'm still an active paramedic. I could walk in any EMS service in anywhere in any state, and I could start. They probably ask me, "Can you start now? Can you jump on a truck now?" Yeah, that's not a problem.
Hell, if you left, you could probably go back to the same place and they would hire you back at a higher rate to get you back.
Probably. I mean, I could go back to the old agency I worked for right now, and I'd probably hire me at a rate. There's other places I could go to. But yeah, I'm as far as that goes, that's not an issue. I can always find a job, thankfully, for what I do. It's just, but I want to do my own thing. I want to be in control of my own destiny, and have that homestead when I move. That's where I'm looking at property now. I'll be probably contacting you all here soon also.
Sure.
Man, Chase should just put up a second building and you could just move in there.
Yeah, I could very easily. There's enough property. I could buy a little tiny home and stick it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this comment from Ridge Runner. I hate hunting down products. I will pay more and have a full kit or fill kit. And having met you in person, I can totally see that. That just seems like a very you comment.
Yeah, I did purposely. I mean, yeah, I'm playing off with John, but I just the whole reason I started making fill kits for John's products was because I use John's products, and I started looking, and I would have people go, "Well, what do you carry in your kit? What do you carry in your vehicle med bag?" And I go, "I'll just start selling it," and that's what I did. It's the exact same things I carry that I think I need, and I do it. And you know, I even have the links on my website to, you know, you want the vehicle med bag? Here's the link. Go get it. But it'll work in any bag or anything, but it will lay out in that, and I'll even tell you can contact me. I'll tell you how to lay it out. I've laid it out for people. They've literally brought me their vehicle med bag, and I've stuffed the stuff in it. I did it at Self-Reliance 3 or 4 times, I think.
Have you done a video of you doing that?
Not yet, but other people have. There's people who've used my stuff, but yeah, I am, and that's my one weakness right now is putting the social media stuff out in the content. That's
well, it's more this. If somebody buys what's made for a specific bag, and you can be like, watch this video to see where everything goes. That actually makes their life easier too.
Yeah, I mean,
Ridge Runner blades. I cannot do wholesale.
Yeah,
we're building everything we can possibly build. I can't feed the guys.
Yeah,
he could totally find and source other products. You're not going to find a U.S. source product though. That's similar. Maybe similar.
And the reason I recommend John's gear is obvious. It's bomb-proof. I switched all my stuff before I ever started a business to John's stuff because it doesn't fall apart. I've tried every medical bag, everybody else. The only medical bag that never fell apart, and besides what John's is, I had a Mystery Ranch Rats bag, and I tried to steal it. I had to turn it back in. It was on a contract, and I did everything I could to take that home with me. But still, even the layout, there's things that I would improve if I had a Rats bag right now that I wouldn't make it like John's. And that's why I recommend and do the fill kits work, because it's the stuff I use. If you see me at an event and I'm doing medical coverage for it and I'm taking care of somebody, I'm working out of one of those bags.
I've walked up at shows and looked at your bag and I'm like, holy shit, who made this? And it's my bag.
Yeah.
I don't even, I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. And it's my damn product. I don't even recognize it when it's all filled up in there.
Yeah. You said you don't give a certificate in your class. What would it take for you to be able to grant a certificate?
Well, I mean, I do certificates. I mean, I am a Stop the Bleed instructor. You can get a certificate for that. But the stuff I'm teaching, just to be perfectly honest, is paramedic, RN, even physician level stuff. I can't make you an RN. I can't make you a paramedic. I mean, I used to be, still am. I'm a paramedic instructor, but you're going to be sitting in class for almost 2 years. Same thing for an RN. A doctor is the whole thing. I'm not a doctor, but I have been trained in advanced level skills. So I can't give it. Can I give you a certificate and make one? Hey, you've taken the Homestead Medical Level 1 class.
Sure you are.
There you go.
One
I mean, if that make people feel better, absolutely. I'll print them all day if you take my class. That's no problem. If I can get Jason to call me on here, I'm going to have patches made to give people patches after they take a class, you know, just as a little extra thing. But you know, it's certification is very difficult, and then it also varies state by state too. So that's kind of a whole monster in itself.
It's allowed versus able. Do you want to learn the stuff, or do you want to sit in class for 2 years to get the piece of paper? Most people learning the stuff they're never going to have to use it. They're not looking to go use it as a job, but they have seen it and they have done the reps and the sets with it. It's just like self-application of a tourniquet. How fast can it take to put that thing on? How fast can you do it? Most dudes, when you see tourniquets, they're still in the cellophane. They're not even staged.
And every time I see a cop, as long as he's not going to like beat me or anything, I'll go up to him, take it out of their over uniform carrier or their plate carrier, and I'll open it up, I'll pull it out, I'll stage it and hand it back to him. And you thank me later if you ever have to use this, because that's what people are trained.
Yeah. Do you even know what this is?
Yeah.
I was in a class where they had a medical kit, and I'm like, do you have this thing in there? And they took the whole thing apart looking for it and didn't find it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go look in my car for that thing that I need.
Well, people also, there's a lot of people who work in industrial areas and they're OSHA compliant. OSHA now requires you to have a windlass tourniquet in there. But I've seen people, you know, they've sent me pictures of an actual, you know, the rubber tourniquet, like when somebody starts an IV on you or takes blood, that's what they put in there because they don't even know what a real tournament is.
The old yellow ones we used to make water weenies out of.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I mean, I can make kits. I do custom kits. I mean, if you see something, you want something, just contact me. It doesn't cost any more. You're being charged for the components that are in it. And you know, the time, because every kit that I have, I build it when you order it. You know, I have some that are pre-packaged, but I've put the stuff in the packaging. I've selected the products because they're products I know are going to work because I've used them.
Okay, so that's not what I was trying to click on. How do you manage expired medical equipment? Do you check your kits once a month, once a year? What advice do you have?
All right. What in gauze is going to expire? Okay. Will I use expired gauze? Absolutely. Have I used expired gauze on real patients? Sure have. As long as that package is not, you know, compromised and it's still packaged right and it's not discolored inside in the product, it's good to use. Medications, a lot of medications, and even the FDA has come out and said this, a lot of medications go way past what that expiration date is. That's just them being said. But there are some medications that do expire on that. Nitroglycerin is one of them. As far as medical equipment goes, use it. Tourniquets have an expiration date on it. As long as they're not exposed to UV light and they're protected and stored for properly, and you don't see any fraying or compromise on it itself, use the damn thing.
That date on gauze is on the packaging. It's not on the gauze.
Yeah. It's the packaging, because the packaging will start to degrade well before the gauze ever will. And even medications, you know, it doesn't. You know, Kevin's asking about Quick Clock. Will it expire? Eventually it'll start drying out, but it depends on how you store it. If you're going through temperature variations, you keep it in your car and, you know, you leave your car outside in a hot environment, it gets to 120 degrees and you do that. Yeah, it's going to degrade quicker. It's how you take care of your equipment. It's like anything else, how you take care of it, how you store it. My car is going to be outside overnight, no matter what the temperature is. I bring my medical gear inside, you know, the stuff that's in there and other things like that, and I put it back. Is it a pain in the ass? Sure, it can be, but that stuff's more important than it's going to work when I need it.
Just like your 25 grand worth of night vision.
Yeah.
It's not staying in the car at the hotel.
Yeah, Ridge Runner and I are opposites. I learned how to take care of humans because of all the animal care I've had to do.
But all my stuff, that's the other thing. My classes, 90% of it, you know, will transfer over to taking care of animals and livestock.
Yeah. Yep, that's where you get your reps in.
Yep.
Can you do a teenage geared class for a homeschool group?
Yeah, absolutely.
Angie, email him. What's your email, Chuck?
Yeah, chuck@homesteadmedical.us.
Oh, wow. What an easy to remember email.
Yeah.
Most homeschool kids are way smarter than the average NPC walking around out in the world anyways. It probably doesn't need to be child age geared.
Here's the thing. It's not geared. I've had 7-year-olds take my wound care class. I've had 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds. I've got, how old are they now? 14, 15-year-old twins who've taken every single one of my medical classes that I offer, except for the 2-day advanced one. And they excel. I just had, Joe Rao's daughter take live tissue class. She was one of my best students, and she doesn't know anything about medical. She packs a wound like she's a pro. So I have kids do it all the time, and that's one of the things that I offer. We can talk about it, whoever hosts the class, but a lot of times I let kids come in for free. As long as they're not going to be disruptive and stuff, they need to learn it. But I can absolutely do a teenage class because it's going to be pretty much the same class.
Yep.
Ridge Runner, we just walk around with staplers and staple each other.
Yeah.
I'll staple you next time I see you.
Yeah, next time you're here, let's staple you. We'll get it done.
I'll staple them all day long. And that's one of the favorite things. I mean, people knock each other out of the way to go staple somebody. Shelly, who was just in here, when I did a class down there for them, Jason volunteered to be stapled, and Shelly was jumping up, shoving people, just running for the stapler so she could drive some into them. And it doesn't hurt. People realize that it doesn't hurt. It's very non-invasive, actually, and it's much easier. Most suturing that is done, 85-90% of it can be done with a skin stapler. It's just done because of cosmetic reasons, to be perfectly honest.
Yep. All right. Well, we're coming up on an hour, and I have kind of a hard deadline this week. Yep. So let's go once around the horn, and we'll wrap up. Let's start with you, John.
SOEtacticalgear.com is the website. I do a live video every night at 9 o'clock on YouTube here. We've got almost 5,000 videos here. So there's something for everybody. You can check it out. And every night at 9, that whole conversation is driven by whatever you guys want to talk about.
All right, Chuck, what do you got for us?
Chuck, website is homesteadmedical.us. All the social media is under Homestead Medical. You can contact me, Chuck, at homesteadmedical.us, and I'll help you out, sell you medical gear, fill all your medical bags from special operations equipment.
All right. I'm Nicole Sauce from Living Free in Tennessee, and Holler Roast Coffee, which is actually full of bone broth right now, but we'll pretend it's coffee for this. It's great coffee roasted to order at hollerroast.com. And we're getting ready for the spring workshop, which is a big to-do around here. I've had 2 people get sick who are hoping to get their deposits back. So if you want to grab their tickets, email me, Nicole@livingfreeintennessee.com. Otherwise, guys, we'll see you next week.